Yeah.
Okay, everyone, thank you for joining today on our weekly class on Jewish mystical thought. Just to remind everybody, if you ever had any intention ever of donating to our class, instead of donating to our class, please donate to a cause close to my heart. Among such causes, not limited to, is, Breslov.org, Chabad.org, United Hatzalah, Magen David Adom, Kolel Chabad, and the synagogue which we are, and the synagogue which we are broadcasting from. So, anyone who wants to make any donation, please make it to cause close to my heart. You can also, additionally, any basic humanitarian cause would count as something close to my heart. Okay, we are concurrently with we're doing today we're broadcasting today over Teams, and we're broadcasting today over Clubhouse. However, because we are recording on Teams, so therefore, I'm asking that anybody who wants to ask a question verbally join us on Teams if you're on Clubhouse. If you do not, if you're not able to for whatever reason, don't worry. Just text your message, your question at some point. Russ, who's the Clubhouse moderator, will voice your question in the room. So if you have questions or comments to make, if you're on Clubhouse, just simply reach out just simply text a message, and Russ will be looking at his phone every so often to see if anyone's left messages, and we'll find an opportune time to ask on your behalf. We can't have messages voiced on Clubhouse because it doesn't transfer over to the recording. Okay, and with that in mind, let us begin our class. Okay. So we are continuing on with our book, Shomer Emunim. It is it's the introduction to Kabbalah by Rabbi Yosef Ergas, with translation, commentary, and overview by Avinoam Fraenkel. And we are and so that's what we're and we're learning the Kabbalah Overview section of the book. As I said many times before, when I had some correspondence with Avinoam Fraenkel, he felt that this was the more important part of the book of our times. So we are on page 709. Those following in the text, page 709, please. Although Adam's sin can be specifically viewed as a watershed moment in the history of the world, this event, together with all events in history, no matter how minor or major, whether relating to the entire world, a nation, a community, or an individual, were all divinely planned to their minutest detail, rooted in the preparatory period of shattered tohu, which we explained what tohu is in previous classes. I'll explain it again in a moment, before the creation of the world. So that's that preparatory state of tohu, which, remember, tohu is that state where things are so undifferentiated. It's that cosmic soup, if you will, of undifferentiated light that does not have any definition yet and is waiting to manifest. So Adam's sin, was part of that. Adam's sin can therefore be viewed not as a sin, but as a necessary component of the intended recurring historic process of the shattering of the vessels and the cosmic restitution that is vital to bring the world to its ultimate state of reconfigured integrated unity in the times of the Messiah. So what he's telling you is that Adam, let me just admit someone into the room. So what the author of this book is saying, what Avinoam Fraenkel is saying, is that Adam had, in a sense, a sin, but in a sense he had not sinned, because this was part of the necessary process for the repair of the worlds. Remember, we spoke about how the vessel shattered, and God created the worlds in the 7th day of creation through reconstituting the shards and the sparks of the shattered vessels, leaving only a little bit left for Adam and Eve to complete. And when that little bit was not, was not completed by their own free will, to the contrary, not only wasn't just a neutral event, it shattered the vessels, that some of the reconstituted vessels, it shattered them further, and Adam and Eve physicalized. Beforehand, they had bodies of light. Now they got bodies of skin. They were spiritual beings before. There was no physical world yet, before they ate from the fruit. So, and I know there are different opinions about that. I'm following the opinion that's explicitly stated in Moshe Chaim Luzzatto's work Das Tfunot, and also what's alluded to in the first Torah of the Ben Ish Chai, in the work Ben Ish Chai, and also that goes back to the Kabbalistic tradition of the Arizal. So that's the perspective I'm following with this. So now you got a question on your hands. I mean, one moment, Adam had free choice here, right? I mean, there's not supposed to be any consequence unless there was free choice. So what does this mean? That God worked it into the process, that for the purposes of bringing the world back to the state of cosmic unity that it was originally in. What does that mean? When you think about it, it's not an easy question to answer, because and there are different approaches that could possibly apply. One approach is, God's knowledge does not interfere with man's action. So a human being can behave abhorrently, and God has already planned around that abhorrent behavior, even though the human being has total free choice. That's the approach of the Maimonides, and that's the, you might say, conventionally accepted approach. But here he's getting at is that this was a necessary component. So you can't totally go with that approach. And besides, there's the issue brought down by Rabbi Arya Kaplan, with blessed memory, that God's knowledge is not like our knowledge. Our knowledge doesn't affect things. God's knowledge, makes things happen. I mean, it's his knowing is determinant. So how can his knowing has a vitality to it? It's determinate. It makes universes. So how do you say that God's knowing something doesn't affect our free choice? So I don't know how deeply you guys want to go on this. I could go, but there is an approach that I prefer. I'd written this out on my blog at some point about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago. And there's a Torah from the Mezritch Maggid. He was the main disciple of the Baal Shem Tov. And he asks, why did God create the universes? Now, there's several accepted answers, and all these answers will actually interrelate with each other, like looking at a diamond from different sides, different facets of the diamond. But so the one that he preferred to express at this moment was God saw the deeds of the saintly, and this inspired him to create the worlds. So students said, why would that inspire him? So Mezrit Mavid responded, don't ask a question about a desire, about someone's passion. Don't ask a question. It's beyond question. It's beyond intellect. That's why. So so what he responded was as follows. He said that really and truthfully, God wanted to create the universes, but he was inspired by the deeds of the saintly. So Lubavitcher Rebbe, late Lubavitcher Rebbe Nachman Lishniasin, Zechusa Yogein Aleinu, may his merit protect us. He pointed out that you have here a case of retrocausality. You know what retrocausality is? Where the effect becomes the cause. Retrocausality, what retrocausality means is that the effect becomes the cause. So it was before the effect, now becomes the cause. And so what happened is that the deeds of the saintly that they're going to do in the future arouse God to create the universes. So in other words, is there free choice or is there no free choice? The universe was created as a result of their deeds. You see that? So in reality is, in the sense, there is free choice. The saintly, when they did their deeds, they did it with freely. But on the other hand, the whole thing was worked in from the beginning. It was baked into the cake, because there's retrocausality going on. So you don't. So it's so there's this paradox of, yes, there's free choice in a sense, in a very real sense, and there's no free choice in a very real sense. It depends on it depends on it depends on whether you're looking from above or you're looking from below. So in a sense, Adam and Eve, they had the free choice. In a sense, they didn't. So all those who are, I'm just going to repeat this again. All those who are on teams, you can voice questions in the middle of my talking. I just encourage you to please show your face before you ask a question. It's good to see the person who's asking the question. All those who are still following on Clubhouse, Russ will check every so often to see if you've left a message, and in case you have questions or comments. This is a participative class, and I encourage people to share and comment. Okay. So we're flipping over to page 711 in the book. Our sages describe that after the creation, this world will exist for 6,000 years. So 6,000-year period, paralleling the 6 days of creation. It sounds like somebody's at the door. Maybe you want to quickly go take a look. So it parallels the 6 days of creation. Paralleling this, so 1,000 years for each day. Those 6,000 years are divided into 2,000 years of what's called Tohu. Tohu, again, is that undifferentiated cosmic light. 2,000 years of Torah, and 2,000 years of prelude to the Messiah. That's what it is. So we have Cindy. Maybe you could sit over there. There's a reason, because this way this way I'm facing the screen and the people in the room together. So there is so we have 2,000 years of each. you know, and there's a lot to say about this, but let's see where he's going to go with this. Okay, so we're at the bottom of 7:11, turning to 7:12. The meaning of the statement is that this physical world will exist in its pre-tikkun state for 6,000 years. In other words, 6,000 years where it will not have a complete cosmic repair. So it'll be partially broken, at least partially broken. Following which, the world will enter a new configured state of tikkun in the Messianic period. Okay, let's see where he's going to go with this. I want to see how closely he follows Moshe Chaim Luzzatto and how much he diverges. I'm a Moshe Chaim Luzzatto fan, so I like to see, if he diverges much, I'll fill in with what Moshe Chaim Luzzatto says. Page 712, Cindy. Okay. This 6,000-year period is not a static existence, but is a period of which the world gradually gravitates towards tikkun, the cosmic reconstitution. The Arizal explains the statement of our sages as referring to three general sub-periods in the process of the overall tikkun, the cosmic repair, which is completed at the end of the period with the Messiah's arrival. Okay, so the first sub-period is 2,000 years of Tohu. Again, that's that cosmic state where everything is in a state of, where the light is undifferentiated. The light that's going to make the universe is still undifferentiated. This relates to 26 generations from Adam until Moses, before the Torah was given, which is coupled with 974 generations before the world was created, and together completes a predestined total of 1,000 generations of Tohu. Okay, so let's break that down. So the first period, you have 974 generations before the world was created. As we know, for the word Bereshit, there's 974 generations. What exactly that is, I don't know. It's a spiritual reality. After that, you have 26 generations from Adam until Moses. These 26 generations, the word number 26 is not a coincidence. This number 26 is the numerical value of the tetragrammaton, the Yud and the Hey and the Vav and the Hey of God's name. Yes, Cindy.
How can one have generations before creation if there was no time? And therefore, are people born from other people in the spiritual realm, or are they just created by Hashem? I mean, I don't know how you. Generations marks time.
Right, generations mark time. So, in spiritual terms, our Kabbalists teach us that time is a series of cause and effect. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking spiritual time, the closest we can relate to it in this world is as a series of cause and effects. We don't really know what spiritual time feels like or looks like. In fact, we cannot even really get underneath what our sense of time is. I mean, Einstein laughed at that once. He looked at it and said, "Oh yeah, time is what's on my watch." And it was like, ha ha ha. We don't really know what it is, even physical time.
Even though we can measure it, we don't know what it is.
Right. Though we can measure it, we don't know what it is. However, spiritual time, we certainly don't know what it is and don't have any experience with it. So our sages teach us that when approaching discussions of time in the spiritual world, treat it as, for our purposes, as series of cause and effect. A linear series of cause and effect.
Are people born? Or are they, I mean, Hashem, I would think Hashem would speak their existence rather than have them be born.
Yeah, honestly, are people born? I don't know. I don't know how it's really meant.
Mhm.
You know, I really don't know how those generations are meant.
Okay.
You know, this 2,000-year period is one that was generally dominated by the wicked, and therefore focused on the rectification of those for those souls in the world of Asiya. The world of Asiya is the lowest world. We are on the bottom of the world of Asiya. In other words, there's a spiritual component to the world of Asiya too. We are the physical component of that world. We're in the bottom world. So in the cosmic chain, we are the bottom feeders. The world of Asiya is the environment which is closest to the klipot, meaning the husks, the shells, and the wicked are the most pronounced. So it's the world that's close to the realms of darkness, and has close association with the realms of darkness, and therefore it's a difficult realm to work from, but that's where we get our free choice from. The next 2,000-year period is marked by Torah being given to the Jewish nation in this physical world with the performance of its mitzvot, in this period allowing for the rectifications to be made for the souls from the world of Yetzirah. So the world of Yetzirah is one up from the world of Asiya, and it is a very spiritual realm. The character of that realm is mostly emotional energy, or can be compared to emotional. We don't know what it is, but I was told the closest association we have to what that realm is a realm of pure emotion. It's our emotional states are a metaphor for that realm, and the angels of those realms and the spirits in those realms are purely made of of emotional material, so to speak, because we don't know exactly, but as close as we can approximate. So the 2,000-year period of Torah, which began with Moses, that 2,000-year period rectifies the souls, fixes the souls in the world of Yetzirah. In other words, all the souls are damaged because of Adam and Eve eating from the fruit, because all our souls are part of Adam and Eve. We're one with Adam and Eve. So we were all of our souls were damaged as a result. But we hi Harry, it's good to see your face. So we are in a state, so we are in a state of total of constant rectification, of purification. So this is our spiritual growth. There's the growth of us individually. There's the growth of the Jewish people nationally. There's the growth of humanity universally. And so by that 2,000-year period, we're working on the souls of the world of Yetzirah. Yetzirah literally means formation. Asiya, we mentioned earlier, means action. Osa, to make, from the word osa, to make. Yetzirah means from the word yotzer, to form. Something that's formed, fashioned. The idea of forming and fashion means that you're reshaping something from something else. You're not creating something from nothing, but you're reshaping things. It's my humble opinion that that's why Sefer Yetzirah is called Sefer Yetzirah and not Sefer Bria, but we will save that for another time. Okay. The final 2,000-year period is the prelude to and the final preparation for the completing of the Tikkun process, the cosmic repair process, and the arrival of the Messiah. It is therefore referred to as the 2,000 years of the Messiah, and relates to the rectifications made for the souls in the world of Bria. The world of Bria means the world of creation. The entities in those worlds can be metaphorically compared to thought forms, and made of pure intellect, metaphorically. Again, we don't really know it, that's our closest approximation to it. With the arrival of the Messiah, at the end of this period, the world will have achieved its reconfigured, integrated state of tikkun, of cosmic repair, and as a result, it will be possible to relate to the world of Berudim, meaning the world of Atzilut. The world of Atzilut means the world of emanations. The world of emanations, the entities there are most closely metaphorized as, making up a word, symbolized by our, the flashes of insight that enter the right hemisphere of the brain. Those pure flashes of insight that seem to come from beyond. Those flashes of insight, artists are very familiar with it. Deep thinkers are very familiar with it. Those flashes of insight that that are in the right hemisphere, they come to the right hemisphere of the brain. So that would be the best metaphor we have for it. Also, another metaphor is that the entities of that world do not feel separate from their source. They feel like your arms feel to your body, like appendages to their source. So you might say entities in the world of Atzilut, which means emanations, include entities like divine names, the holy names of God, the Sfirot, all these God's attributes. These are entities of the world of Atzilut. It comes to the word Etzel in Hebrew, meaning nearby. In other words, it's nearby God, so to speak. It's also the source of holiness, Kedusha, his connection to that world of Atzilut. So it is over there that, so that will happen. Now, the Ramchal has it similarly, but with a little more nuance on some level, which I want to point out because it's relevant. That's why. Okay, according to this layout, you might think, I don't think he believes it, but you might conclude that the Messiah comes only by the year 6000, because that's your point of cosmic rectification. However, that's not how the Ramchal, Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, explains it. He explains it is that, yes, it's true the complete rectification doesn't happen till the year 6000. However, there could be enough rectification for the Messiah to come well before that. In fact, he expresses in his works, I hope, he was writing in the early 1700s, I hope that the Messiah comes in my time, may come soon our time. So there is a point of rectification which is good enough for the Messiah to come. It's sufficient for the Messiah to arrive. And then by the year 6, and even sufficient for there to be resurrection of the dead. The year 6000 begins another period. The period the rectification has been completed, and the way Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto points it out is that the world will turn into that state before creation. In other words, the cycle returns where the world turns back to, and there was waters on the face of the deep, and the souls, which are now by the resurrected souls, body and soul together, sublimated body and soul of the truly, of the saintly, will spend time in heaven the way Moses spent time in heaven 40 days and 40 nights while receiving the 10 Commandments. while receiving the tablets. That's the way he has it. And then this year 7,000 is going to be a year of that new heavens and new earth that the prophet Isaiah speaks of, and the universe won't be recognizable as we know it today.
And that corresponds to the Shabbat of millennium.
Yeah, that corresponds to that. Actually could be said that even when the world turns into that state of tohu, the world turns back into the state of a formless mass, that the waters on the face of the deep, that itself, I think, is actually the Shabbat.
Okay.
Because the souls reside in the state that Moses was in, and people will reside in the state that Moses had resided while he was up at Mount Sinai 40 days and 40 nights. So that's going to be spiritually pleasurable. There's no pleasure like spiritual pleasure. It's the deepest pleasure there is. Why do you think tons of people are running to meditate? Because they're hoping to get that spiritual pleasure. But of course there are levels and levels of it. What's available in this world at this time is tiny, tiny, tiny fraction compared to what will be. This physical body, we can, or by being associated with the physical body, if we could transcend it, but even by being associated with it, we can only taste so much. After the body has its tikkun, the body itself has to go through a tikkun. That's the idea of being buried. The body goes through a tikkun in the grave, so to be reconstituted. Then, you have the resurrection. Then it's ready for the resurrection. Okay, so with that in mind, let us go to page 713. The primary tool through which the tikkun, the cosmic rectification, and therefore the messianic redemption can concurrently be brought about is the performance of the mitzvot of the Torah, the commandments of the Torah. Thus, just as all the worlds are created through a tzimtzum of the infinite light, in other words, a contracting of the infinite light to create each successive lower world level, the Torah manifest in and speak in the language of each successive lower world level. Torah manifest and speak in the language of each successive lower world level. Therefore, the Torah, as it is currently manifest in our physical world, which is the state of tohu, meaning that undifferentiated state, uses a physical world narrative to convey its message, but nevertheless, same time contains profound depth that captures the secrets of the entire universe. So, in other words, the Torah speaks at many levels at once. It's multi-layered. I saw a meme this morning. Someone wrote, "I'm not complicated. I'm just multi-layered." The universe is not complicated. It's just multi-layered, And so the Torah, too, is multi-layered to speak to each level of the universe. This is why the Talmud in Tractate Shabbat talks about Moses having to go up to heavens to receive the Torah. And the angels didn't want to give it away. They were like, what is this flesh and blood being doing among us? So let me ask you a question. Why were the angels so protective? Okay, you can argue that they saw the propensities of humanity and said, "Oy vey, what these people are going to do with it." But they're not going to listen to it. They're going to violate it. They're going to step on it. And yeah, you'll get a few who will actually care, but the overwhelming majority of people, scary thought. The angels didn't have a lot of faith in humanity. But you can look at it from the other perspective too. There's another perspective, which is concurrent. It doesn't, goes together. That the angels had use for the Torah. That's why the Torah was there. And they appreciated its beauty, and they appreciated its spirituality, and they could not even picture how can it go down to the trash bin called planet Earth. Because they saw it, they saw it as beautiful and as this precious treasure, scintillating lights, and they didn't see it as, just as a textbook. They saw it as really living and really vital and really filled with divine light. So they felt that the heavens is the better place for it. I mean, you mean the Torah has something that could say anything to the lower world? So Moses had to explain to them, yes, it has a message for the lower world too. The Torah is multi-layered, and the layers don't stop at your world. The layers extend to our world as well. So, when Moses was saying, well, let's see what it says in the Torah. Don't worship idols. Do you have idols among you? It says, keep the Shabbos, keep the Sabbath. Do you do you work that you have to rest from work? And he went on and on to tell to explain this to the angels. The angels, but you think the angels didn't? What was he? How was he able to say things in the Torah? The angels didn't know, because on their realm it didn't say those things. We weren't those things. That aspect of the Torah wasn't overt. It was kind of seminally included, kind of like the way 2 dimensions is included in 3 dimensions in our world. So, because it was seminally included, therefore, they didn't even see it. It took someone from this world, from the physical world, to say, "Hey, down here, the Torah has has something to say. The Torah has another layer yet, a layer that's relevant for down here." They didn't even see that in the Torah. It's kind of like somebody looking at a newly fertilized egg. You don't even see yet the arms, the legs, the eyes, the ears, right? You don't see it yet. It's seminally included. It's there in potential, but only time will reveal it, right? You have to go through a process to reveal it. You could look at the zygote, the newly fertilized egg, and say, what is it for, right? So the angels, while the Torah had living relevance in their realm, they could not see even that there was another leg to go to expose the full possible range of relevance for the Torah. Therefore, the Torah, as it is currently manifest in the physical world, which is in a state of tohu, that undifferentiated light, uses a physical world narrative to convey its message, but nevertheless at the same time contains profound depth that captures the secrets of the entire universe. The mitzvot of that Torah, that the Torah commands performance of, are specifically designed to raise us and the world back to being in a relative state of shattered tohu, from a relative state of shattered tohu to a state of tikkun. So we are working toward that state of tikkun. When this world reaches a state of tikkun at the outset of the Messianic times, the perception of its inhabitants will have been elevated to relate to themselves as being in a higher world level. They will then perceive the Torah as speaking to them in the context of that new higher world level, and relate to the same unchanged Torah in a radically new way, i.e., with a reduced level of contraction, a reduced level of filtration, tzimtzum. As it is as our sages put it, although the underlying Torah is totally unchanged, they will view it as a quote-unquote new Torah. In a relative sense, it will appear totally new to them. So so what's going on is, as we change, so too notice the Torah never changes, but we can change, and as a result, we see the Torah in a different way. There was a funny story. It's not exactly the same story, but closely related. There was this person who came to the great scholar Rabbi Adon Steinsaltz. I don't know if you heard of Rabbi Adon Steinsaltz.
The Talmud?
Yeah, he was one of the he translated the Talmud into modern Israeli Hebrew, and he was a scholar in many areas of Jewish thought. A philosopher, a scholar. He would visit universities to speak and everything. He passed away several years back, but you can look him up online, Rabbi Adon Steinsaltz. They have a website dedicated to his teachings. So one of the things that he said, there was a story that someone came over to him and said to him, how can you say the same words of the prayer book day after day after day after day? Don't you get bored at some point? And Rabbi Steinsaltz said, and the way I do it is because I change every day. Because I change every day, the same words look different to me. So the man scoffed at the response. So Rabbi Steinsaltz said, the problem is, it's not that the prayer book is boring, but maybe you're boring. So as we change, the same, what seems to us like the same message changes with us. So too, when the world will go into a state of tikkun, of rectification, we will change. We'll radically change, and as our consciousness will change, and as a result, we will see the Torah differently. This is also, by the way, the story of our exile, because in our exile, we reveal different facets of the Torah, because that can only be exposed in different states of exile. That's it's a similar idea, but that's the idea of going down. This is the idea of going up. So so as we move upward, we will be in a state of of completion relative to the way we are now. Again, relative is never total completion. Only God is complete, right? He's infinite, he's one, he's complete. But relative to what we are now, we'll be in a state of completion, and therefore we will see the Torah differently. And therefore it'll fulfill what Isaiah talks about, that new Torah. It doesn't mean literally a new Torah. It means a Torah that we suddenly are exposed to a different layer of. So that that's something to strongly think about and consider. So I just wanted to share something that I should have mentioned earlier, and that is the notion when the world goes into that state where of a water world, if you will, the world of that was before creation, when the waters covered the face of the deep. When it goes back into that state at the year 6000, the universe goes back into that state. that will be like the death of the universe. Just like we passed away and have to go through a process of reconstitution of the body, a fixing, a purification of the body through, so too, before we resurrect, before the universe resurrects, it has to go through the same process. So we will go through it first, but then the universe as a whole has to go through it. And that's by the year 7,000, the universe will have completed. The universe itself will have its own resurrection. So there's a parallel going on. And during that 1,000 years, while the universe, so to speak, is quote unquote in the state of death, in that state of chaos and reconstituting, like I mentioned earlier, the souls will be in a state that Moses, not only souls, the soul bodies, the resurrected people, which will be, all the Jewish people and the good from among humanity as well, will be in a state of, like Moses was when he received the Torah, 40 days and 40 nights in heaven, which, he ascended, because God brought heaven down to Mount Sinai. So when Moses walked up Mount Sinai and into the mist, he walked into heaven itself. He walked into paradise itself. And there he transmuted into a spiritual form, his physical body spiritually transmuted. So we will be in that state. The universe itself will then have its resurrection. And so you can see some parallels going on. It's very, very interesting. Okay, so I think we could go for a few more minutes. Even though I put down for 45 minutes, if you want, we go for about another 5 minutes or so. Okay, so we're going to start the second paragraph on page 713. If we don't complete it, it will be our starting point, God willing. Lina Dermirz Hashem next week. Okay. As the tikkun, the rectification process, gradually gravitates towards its completion with its ups and downs along the way, as we get closer to the end of the 6,000-year period, the process starts to increasingly accelerate as the world goes through the final preparation stage before reaching the complete tikkun, the complete rectification. In this period, the fountains of wisdom are opened. The Kabbalistic wisdom, the deeper underlying understanding of the Torah, starts to become truly accessible to the masses. Correspondingly, complementary scientific knowledge starts to make ever-increasing radical changes in our lives. What we can visibly see that is already happening in the world around us is that newly discovered technologies are accelerating the pace with which all people of the world are being connected together. Right? You see it. I mean, the internet, wow. Unbelievable.
In AI.
The AI, where humanity is becoming like one nerve system through all this, one nervous system. With the advances in the internet interconnectivity, we already acknowledge that we live in a global village. It is not difficult to see that within a short period of time, biotechnologies, page 714, that already exist today will be further developed to allow every person in the world to become directly and personally connected to the internet and become an individual living node of a global network. That has to be done morally and it's
if
not
you're capable.
Yeah.
If humanity is capable of being moral about it.
Yeah, good point. We hope and pray humanity is capable of being moral about it. I guess if big business is involved, there are big questions about that. Or if big government is involved, there's big questions about that. We will soon be able to email a message not by typing on external devices, but by rather simply thinking about it. With all people being nodes on a global network, they will become like neuron connections as the world connects together to form a tightly integrated global brain.
What happens to the shield of, like, there's things that we think and then we decide not to say them? If we're integrated like that and our thoughts immediately transmit, we're not able
Yeah,
to
it's a
shield.
question I thought of too.
Uh-huh.
Let's see how he goes with this, and maybe we'll try to deal with that. This level of integration will become absolutely total, integrating the complex kaleidoscope of global diversity into what may be considered a single unified sentient being of humanity, where each human node on the network becomes unified with the greater whole of the network itself.
See, part of me thinks that this is more like the Tower of Babel, whereas we think our technology is so great, we're striving to achieve what God should only provide us, and then it's actually Tower of Babel.
Right. So it's, like I said, I have also questions sort of like that about this.
Mhm.
But let's see how he takes it. It is very far from being a stretch of the imagination to suggest that the tikkun process, that is reconfiguring our existence to bring about a true state of totally integrated diversity of mankind, is already in full swing. It is also very reasonable, based on what we currently see in the world around us, to believe that this tikkun process will indeed accelerate further to truly achieve the deepest level of unification of mankind. So so just some thoughts about this. I mean, what you raised, Cindy, are questions I share as well. I don't trust government as we know it or big business as we know it to with what's with these very highly sensitive matters. That sounds like the hive or mind control. So, but maybe there's a way it could be done ethically and correctly. It's just outside, my expertise to comment on.
I'm sure it could be. It's a matter
Yeah,
of whether it is, or whether both good people pursue it and selfish people pursue it,
right,
and therefore the selfish are larger in number and overwhelm the system and turn it
right,
to the bad.
right. So again, I just don't know. I don't know how we'll have a private thought again. And B, I don't know how what's it called? How we keep such a thing out of the hands of the wrong people.
I also think there'd be a group of people who rebel against the assimilation,
Right,
and they may be because the people doing it are evil, and they would therefore be good rebellion,
right,
or it could be people who are bad
right,
rebellion against the
right.
good people who are
Okay.
trying to do it.
Right. So okay, but he's very clear about it, that he's not suggesting this as a definite. This is his own. He is the writer of this book is uh, you know is a computer person, is a techie.
Mhm.
So I guess he's trying to see the positive side of the tech world in this Tikkun process. And I'm not arguing with him. I just don't see how it will so easily work out, considering considering who's behind the technology and who wants to get their hands on the technology
And it seems like
and the
I've read
current
some
state
things,
of humanity.
and I've read some things by the people who are wanting to have this happen, and it's really seems to be about their own power, that they want to be integrate, like it's like their self-aggrandizement.
Right. So it's very hard for me to see where this is going, but let us as they say, hold our breath on this. Let's hold our breath, suspend judgment, and he might very well be onto something, but I just don't understand totally how or what.
Hopefully the evil will be undermined and
Right.
it'll all be for the
Right,
good.
exactly. Hopefully the evil will be all undermined, will be all for the good. Anyways, okay, with the last few minutes, I want to take any questions, comments, answers. Those who have participated either in the room or on Teams can ask directly. Just ask that if you're on Teams to show your face before commenting.
Austin has a few.
And they've
comments
also
here.
got a few comments on the Clubhouse. So while I'm going to read for a moment the comments on Clubhouse from Austin. Okay. Okay. Austin, Russ will work with you to get you involved in the video class. The video class is not on Zoom, it's on Teams. But Russ will help you get it involved. And Austin also commented the first 4 levels are called Pardes, which is an acronym for Pshat, Remez, Drush, Sod. That's right. This is true. These are different levels of Torah study. They correspond to the 4 worlds. Pshat is the simple meaning. Remez is the hinted meaning or the associative meaning. Drush is the logical meaning. Sod is the mystical meaning. What's it called? And I like what you said. I share the sentiment, Austin. Let's stand up for our rights and not be forced to plug into a mind-reading computers. Okay. All right. So please, Russ, help Austin get onto our teams. Give him all the information he needs to get onto Teams.
Yeah. Well, if he just adds, if his number is in the text that you have, the text channel that you have going, then
his number isn't.
Yeah,
His number is.
so
We
that's
met
what
him.
I'll
We
do.
met him. We met him on Clubhouse. So
Can you put the
Right.
link?
So I'll
in
just
the-
add his phone number there, and then he'll get your.
yeah. So do ask him for his phone number or whatever.
Can you give him the link to the Teams?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
And
So
if I add his phone number to that, then
Yeah.
he'll get a link to the team.
right. So you work it out with him. That you give him my phone number, and then we'll work it out from there. That's a good idea. Work it out. Okay. So, anyways, does anyone who's on Teams have any questions, comments?
Clement.
Yeah,
This is
go ahead.
Harriet from a close suburb of Philadelphia, PA. And I know Alan from when he was in the Philadelphia area. I'm fairly sure you're aware of the huge portal device that's somewhere in the city in Philly. And it's connected to different countries. I think Poland was one of them. And I forget what some of the other countries are. But I think you have to be in front of the device in Philly in order to look, and the countries change every so often. It's not always the same country. But I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm not aware of it, but so what does it show? What does this device show?
Other people stand in front of their portal device in their country and they can wave. I don't know if they can actually talk to each other, but at least see each other. But I've only seen it on news coverages. I haven't actually seen it in person or whatever, but it might be inter-country portal or portal in Philadelphia. I don't know how you would look it up.
Okay, it sounds interesting. Get people connected. I definitely love
Yes.
that.
From him
Definitely love that.
every week.
Yeah.
Okay.
The link
Okay,
the
Stig, do you have anything that you want to say?
I probably don't need to send this to him, right? Or do I?
Yeah, I was thinking that you talked about evil, and I remember hearing at one point that evil has within it the structure of its own demise.
Right.
And I think the question then remains, I think, how much of its destruction that it would impart do we accept before something gets done about it?
Right. It's a good question. I was let it just let the embers die on their own, as they say.
Yeah.
Right. It's true. That's a bigger question, and it's I can't but we could discuss that at more length maybe next time. Can you remind me of that?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. And Naluwoza, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to, but
Okay.
I'm still on.
I get. Hi. Thank you for joining us today. So, but I don't hear you. You're on mute.
I'm gonna have to drop off here because I need my phone for the other class.
Okay. So
And
yeah, I'm gonna end
maybe
the
if we're gonna take questions, we need to end
Right.
it a little earlier now.
Okay. All right. So, anyways, Naluwoza, I don't hear you.
Now you can hear me.
Yeah, now we hear you.
Yeah, my name is Naluwoza. Deborah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you can end the clubhouse.
So thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Where are
Okay.
you located, Nelwalza?
I'm
Where
in
are
Uganda.
you? Uganda?
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah,
Cool.
she's in a Jewish community in Uganda.
This is definitely
Yes.
a global.
We're already an example of it. Okay. There's going to be another class in this room, so I would love to continue, but there's another class that's supposed to be in this room right now.
They get really upset if I'm late.
And yeah, okay. So I'm gonna close the class for now. But God willing, Hashem, next week, same time, same place. And thank
Okay.
you all for joining.
Good to
I'm
see
very
you,
happy you
Alan.
all joined. Okay, Shavua Tov Varach, a beautiful week, everybody. Okay, thank
Ditto.
you. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, bye, Naluwoza.
You from the Abba Yadai community?